So it's about it's the true story of a guy called Yossi Ginsberg, who, when he was sort of very, quite young, went to South America and met up with a couple, made sort of quite a few friends there, but two of those friends specifically, and him went into the jungle with a guide, who kind of charmed them all and made them agree to come on this trip with him. And Yossi had gone out there looking for an adventure, and then at some point after sort of culmination of different situations, they ended up. Yossi ended up getting separated from the whole group and ending up alone in the jungle for 3 weeks, and so this is the story of his time out there and his experience. I mean, it's not a spoiler to obviously, like, I'm here. He wrote the book, so he gets through it. And it's really, what I found very moving about it was that there is this idea that there is this sort of kernel of fight in all of us, that it's very hard to make somebody give up on their life, and this film shows that in the context of this survival story. But I feel like that is in all of us, and you see it in war, and you see it in people who are living under sort of oppressive regimes, and there is, I think, this film sort of tells the story of that, like, thing that refuses to die. I like to think so. I mean, I don't know if I recognize, but I think I recognize something fundamentally human in Yossi's story, and because it is like about a man who was stripped back to kind of the very, he had everything taken away from him. He was broken down sort of mentally to the point where he actually was able to be very happy. I think he yes, some of the time in the jungle was harrowing and awful, but some of it I think Yossi would describe as some of the most joyous and sort of serene moments of his life were also spent in those 3 weeks. And I think that there's watching somebody find that in themselves and reading the story of somebody who thinks they're going to die and thinks that nature is closing in on them, and then somehow is able to accept himself as a part of the natural order and then survive, it was very sort of inspirational, and I think quite moving. The accent was the main thing I was sort of worried about in advance of the film, because Israeli is a very different accent from anything that I grew up sort of hearing regularly. I grew up around a lot of American accents, lots of Irish accents, but not so much Israeli. So I found that, like, honestly quite tricky. But I mean, I've had Israeli interviews tell me I did a good job, but they might just be being nice. But, like, who knows? But it was, so that was definitely something that I did a lot on. And then also just talking to Yossi and sort of picking his brains for just how he, not so much how he survived, because that's sort of detailed in the book, but just how he was feeling, and also how he sees the whole experience now looking back, which is something you don't get from the book, obviously. But yeah, that, and then when I got out there, then it became sort of about not eating, which is not, it's not fun, but it's also not like the worst thing in the world. I mean, I was still eating a bit. Like, I was eating. Somebody in the papers the other day wrote something completely wrong, obviously. But I was eating like a fillet of fish a day and a protein bar. So I was still getting, like, sustenance and a lot of coffee. And then, but, like, yeah, it was. I knew, when I read the script, that it would be a challenging shoot, not just for me but for the whole crew, because filming in those conditions and filming in the water and all of those kind of things were obviously going to be tricky. But yeah, that was, I think, part of the appeal, was just, I'd never worked on a film like this before, so I thought it would be a good experience as well. I'm not someone who loves the water, and so, like, water scenes, and also, like, even someone who loves the water, I feel like after 8 hours filming in it, you're kind of, you're ready to not be in it anymore. But that was, yeah, I mean, I'd say that was the most challenging part, just because, again, for me and the other actors, but also for everybody, it's everything slows down when you get into the water by quite a lot, just because you have to, for safety and things. So it's hard to get momentum between takes. You're obviously, like, wet and cold, and I was thinking, like, oh, it'll be in Colombia, like, it'll be really warm and stuff, which it was, but somehow in the bit we were in, it managed to still feel cold. But it was, I don't, the crew were also like having to lug things in and out of the water. I also had an amazing stunt double who did a lot of time in the water, who I should mention called Toby, who was fantastic. But yeah, I'd say that was probably the and there's a thing in a pit of mud at the end as well. And also that's the second one of those scenes that I've done in my career. I'm like, this is at least the second time that I've had to get into a large pit of mud in a film. So those are definitely like my scenes that mud pit scenes are some of my least favorites to film. But also, you know, I got to go home to a nice hotel every night, and somebody actually lived through the real experience. So I don't want to be like, yeah, it was super hard when somebody lived through it.
Poor me.
Yeah, exactly. And we still had I'm saying all this, but like part of that also is like a very bonding experience. The fact that the whole crew and the whole cast is all kind of going through it together it means it builds up a really good relationship between everybody. No, I'm okay with snakes actually. I did a scene once with 100 live snakes, and I had a snake wrapped around me for like the last 20 minutes of a movie, and it was great. It was really really cool. I actually became quite fond of them, but I'm not great with like insects and like creepy crawly stuff like that, which there's plenty of in Australia. Um, yeah, Australians love telling you about all the deadly things that exist in their country. Like as soon as you get there, everyone just starts like showing off about all the snakes they have. But yeah, we didn't. There was only one moment where we came close to an actual snake and that was not in Colombia. That was when we were in Australia, and there's this guy on set called Sammy Elias. I feel like I'm not misremembering his name, and he was with the stunt department, I believe, or he was doing like lots of safety and stuff. But he was also just like, as soon as there was a poisonous snake on set, everyone was like, Sammy, and Sammy would come in with a big hook and like get it and take it away. But apparently, it was very deadly. It was like a brown copper back. I don't know. I can't remember what it was called, but it was very dangerous.
You didn't have to go near it.
I did not go near it. It was like as soon as somebody saw it, everyone was like, "Okay, everybody get back like 40 feet." And of course, me and like the other English or non-Australian members of the crew were just there going, "Can we sit?" Like trying to get close, and all the Australians were just like, "You guys are idiots. It's not worth seeing. Get away." It didn't taste disgusting, but the most like psychologically disgusting thing that I ever had. There's a Japanese beef restaurant near where I spend time in New York, and they have uh, they like use the whole cow, and they have like a brain paste which they bring out on little like bellinis, and I took my friend there for his birthday, and he was like, gotta try that, and I was like, oh, okay, you can if you like. He's like, no, it's my birthday, I'm making you all try it. And it was not disgusting, but I would also not get it again. I'd like to say no, but I do loads of superstitious things. Like I don't have like a token or anything that I carry around with me, but like I do, like I knock on wood all the time. If I even like particularly when I'm watching sport, if I even think something positive about the team I want to win, I then immediately have to like knock on wood. So yeah, I mean I think I am probably like really superstitious for somebody that is also at best agnostic. I feel like, oh, I should be like rational and modern and things, but I have loads of superstitions. Yeah. I didn't really grow up with Halloween as being a big thing particularly, but I enjoy it. And I like seeing other people dress up. Particularly, like I have to say, I spend like a lot of time in America, and Halloween in America is pretty great because they don't do anything by half over there. They go way over the top, and it's fantastic. So yeah, like the New York Halloween parade is always something to just go and watch because people put some real effort into those costumes. And I do like I go around on Halloween and just like a mask and stuff. So that's kind of fun. People do dress up as Harry Potter. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen many Harry Potters running around on Halloween, but no, I'm normally just like in a Batman or Spider, something kind of with a lot of face covering. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, no, it's good because I can like just it's a fun night. Um, I mean like the first things that come to mind are like Jack Lemmon in The Apartment, but I would not do as good a job as Jack Lemmon, so I don't know why I would. I don't want to. That's the thing. Any of like my favorite roles are probably actors that I love in them, so I wouldn't want to redo them. I would just like to, it's like one of my favourite movies is Arthur, and with Dudley Moore and Liza Minnelli and John Gielgud, and nothing against Russell Brand. I think Russell Brand's, I really enjoy him, and Helen Mirren and everybody who was in that movie, but I was just like, oh, don't remake it. It's like the original is perfect, and Dudley Moore is so perfect in it, and it was just, so I don't know. I think the only circumstances under which I could like remake something would be if I didn't particularly care for the original or thought there could be something that was redone. So it's a really boring, serious answer to your question that was probably not meant to get something like that. Sorry. No, I don't. People are like really. People make fun of my TV when they come around sometimes. Um, yeah, I do watch movies at home. I don't often watch like good movies at home. I prefer watching sort of bad like B movies. Kind of. That's I don't know. I find that. And to be honest, yeah, somebody was saying this to me the other day. Like I think a lot of actors, or certainly this is a massive generalization, but a lot of my friends that are actors, we all seem to watch like the same kind of crappy reality TV or documentaries. And like I don't know why that is. Like for me, it's something about watching film is sometimes not that relaxing. Like if it's good, I just wish I was in it, and if it's bad, don't want to watch it anymore. So that's why like I enjoy watching movies like I don't know, like the Asylum movies, like Sharknado, is a big example. But like, there's all the versus movies like Mega Python versus Gatoroid or whatever they're called, and like all of that kind of stuff. I'm like movies you can talk through. It's fun.
You don't really have to pay attention, really.
No, exactly. I mean, you do if you want to get into the subplots of all the amazing science and yeah. I'm a big fan of terrible B movies. I could talk about them all day. Yeah, other than acting, yeah, I mean, I would love to direct one day, maybe, and write. I try and write at the moment, scripts and things, but definitely acting is sort of the main focus for now. But I would love to sort of move into that at some point. But yeah, I'm doing hopefully a TV series later in the year over in America called Miracle Workers, which is created by a writer that I love called Simon Rich. If you haven't read his short stories, they're amazing and they're very, very funny. And so I'm going to be hopefully working with him for quite a while now because I'm doing this series, which I'm very, very excited about. And then I don't know, like maybe some more theatre, and there's a couple of films that hopefully will happen next year. But yeah, it's all like the world of independent film mostly, so it's kind of all up in the air.